Hey, what's going on, guys? So I'm just in the gym here, and I've got a little whiteboard, and I've decided to make this the start of explaining, my entire progress and where I started at, and where I've ended. So this is Candido's Training HQ's program, is 6 week program. I don't gonna do like a full review on it just because I don't feel like I'm that advanced enough yet to be able to put out a comprehensive review on it because I can't really compare it to other things. So this is the only strength program that I've ever done, and I'll get into it later about how I first started lifting weights. But this is August 2013 is when I began powerlifting and strength training, and May 2014 is when I ended. Well, not when I ended, but when I'm, gonna do this progress video. So, in those time frames. So, as you see, my squat increased 155 pounds, my bench press increased 45 pounds, and my deadlift increased 80 pounds. That's a total increase of 280 pounds. So, my body weight when I first started this was around 170 pounds. I cut down to about 160 pounds in the middle of it, and then now I'm back up to this last May mock meet. I was about 179 pounds. So I've definitely gone through some up and down with weight changes, but for the most part, the strength training program was, I think it was, I'm able to say that I had the new gains from it. So I can't really say that it was, pure strength, pure advanced strength that I gained, because I never really trained this way before. So that's it for this part, guys. I'm gonna get into depth more about how I got myself into those types of gains. So you saw the intro. Basically, just want to give you an idea of where I started and where I ended as of last cycle. So a total of 9 months put in there of work. My very first 9 months of powerlifting. Actually, I would call it strength training. So strength training for powerlifting. So instead of pointing out a specific audience to talk to, I'm going to just keep it simple and talk about 5 tips for beginners that I implemented to get myself those strength increases that I got. And 5 tips that I believe are crucial to a beginner and that could very easily benefit someone starting strength. So the first one I'm going to talk about is start a strength training program. A strength training program that emphasizes progressive overload. Progressive overload should be instilled in your head at this point. If you've even thinking about beginning strength or powerlifting, that is what a strength training program, a powerlifting program, is solely based around. It's progressive overload. So one that I recommend, obviously, is Candido Training HQ's program. He's got 2 out. So the one that I'm on is the 6-week strength training program. That was the first one he came out with. Then he came out with a more linear program called Linear Program, geared more towards beginners to let them do that program and then ease into the 6-week strength training program. So that's absolutely crucial. Get on a program. You've got to get your gains programmed, no matter what. Second tip: eliminate all ego in your system. This is important, guys, because your numbers, they have to start somewhere, and they're going to be low. I promise you that. Just like you saw in the beginning of the video, my squat was 250 pounds. My bench press was 250 pounds, and that was touch and go. I never even maxed out on my, I never even tested my pause rep. And deadlift was 350 pounds. So they have to start somewhere, no matter what. And it has to be low. The more you try to jump up the weight without actually knowing that you can do that weight, or just doing it just because you want to start out bigger because you're worried about what people will think, you're already setting yourself up for failure, no matter what. Because, like I said, jumping back up to the first tip, the strength training programs are going to be based around your true 1 rep max. So you definitely don't want to be jumping that up. You actually, if you really don't know, if you don't know what you should do, you should actually bring that number down to start off. Third tip, stop replacing the big 3, squat, bench, deadlift, with pointless exercises. Obviously, unless injury is a factor. What I mean by this is, example, people doing the leg press for squats, or doing Smith machine squats in for squats. Another example for bench press would be using hammer strength machines. You know, some of those seated hammer strength press machines in for bench press. This is important because, guys, you know, obviously, if you're strength training, even if you're doing it for bodybuilding, starting somewhere, you have to build that foundation. Natural athletes have to build that strength foundation, and you're going to get that from the squat, bench, and deadlift. Fourth tip: get your body mechanics right. Mobility work is crucial. This is something that I've had to overcome. Probably the most out of everything that I've done so far is mobility. I've had to instill that in my head, because I am by far I'm the worst at flexibility. I have no flexibility. I can barely touch my toes, guys. So the squat was definitely a hard thing for me to get into, but I had to learn how to even do mobility work and how to apply it to get my body into those good squat form, that good bench press form, and that good deadlift form. Because that, again, we're building from the bottom up. Fifth tip: nutrition. I am a flexible dieter, IIFYM, whatever you want to call it. I do not preach or really believe in clean eating. That's a whole other topic we can get into later, but I'll let you choose. You can go the clean eating route if you want, where you have food restrictions, you limit yourself to what you can and can't eat, or you can go the flexible dieting route. Get a food scale, start tracking your calories, your protein, carbs, your fat. The main thing I want to instill is eat in a caloric surplus. Eat in a caloric surplus. If you're starting strength and you're overweight, or you don't really know exactly where to go from there, if you feel like you're overweight, then by all means, still do the program and cut down the weight, cut down the calories if you'd like to. But the whole point is to build strength. You have to be in a caloric surplus to build strength. There's a little bit of an exception there. Very, 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 very new, and most of the time young guys can still lose weight while building strength. It's possible with the natural testosterone in you, and just being so new at lifting the weights, your body's going to respond differently. But the main goal is to eat in a caloric surplus to gain strength. And those are my 5 tips, guys. That is what I had to sit down and think about, what all I have done to get to the point I'm at. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but you saw the numbers that I've gained in a decent amount of time. And I think that these tips should help you out. Thanks.